Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we do not take it for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you also find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. We'll also drop the link to the free Telegram group in the description of this video where we share updates of these setups as the week unfolds. And we'll also tackle the recap of the previous week at the end of this video, so stay tuned. So before that, let's jump into the economic calendar for the week. Then we see what we have on the charts as well. So going into next week, we are going to consider the high impact news for next week. On Monday, there's no high impact news. On Tuesday, we have the bank holiday, French bank holidays. We also have the Bank of England's governor speaking on Tuesday. We have CPI for USD on Tuesday, and we also have the Fed chair, Chairman Walsh, testifying after CPI. We also have Bank of England's governor speaking again later after CPI as well. On Wednesday, we're going to have core PPI for USD, and then we're also going to have the CAD Bank of Canada monetary policy report and rate statements and overnight rate as well. And then we're going to have Fed Chair Walsh testifying also later in the day. And we're also going to have the Bank of Canada's press conference on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to have the GBP's GDP, and on Friday, there's no high impact news. So let's take note of these high impact news, and if you're taking any position in relation to any of these currencies, you take caution with them. Let's jump into the charts and see what we have for the week. So this is DXY. So DXY, we have an anticipating price retesting this area of interest and taking off. So as it is now, price can either retest this area of interest again and then take off, or preferably it should pull back. We are expecting it to pull back into this area of interest, and then we will look for buying opportunities from there. So we are going to be patient to see how price develops for the coming week. And due to CPI, we have a CPI on Tuesday. If we get a retest of this area and CPI comes, we might likely get price taking off right from here without even coming all the way down to pull back into this area of interest we have here, which happens to be the neckline of this inverse head and shoulder that is formed here. So this area we have above here is a major area of resistance where price might struggle or play around a little bit. So we have this potential harmonic pattern which is likely to develop, and this can only be possible if we get price to significantly break above this resistance area we have here. Then we look for a retest and we look for buying opportunities to the upside. But for now, we are looking at a possible retest of this area, first area of interest, or the second area, or probably even the third, depending on how price pulls back for us to take our opportunities to the upside. So we are very bullish on USD, what do you call it, on DXY, sorry. So let's see, this is EURUSD. Going into next week, last week we anticipated a pullback into this area of interest to give us selling opportunities. Price played around for some time and we didn't see any significant move here. So going into next week, we are going to look out for should we get a structural shift? Should we get a daily structural shift here? Should price shift structure, the daily structure we have here, and comes for a pullback, we will likely look for selling opportunities to the downside. But then if price continues to pull back a bit higher into the second zone or somewhere between these two zones, if price is able to pull back within this area, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from there. So we are still very bearish on EURUSD. You just have to be patient to see how price plays out within either of these two zones, either this zone or the second zone above. Then we can take our decisions to the bearish side. This is GBPUSD. So last week we anticipated that price would give us a possible reaction from this zone. We didn't see any significant bearish move here, so we are still going to be patient to see how price plays out. Should it also pull back a bit higher into the second zone above, we'll still likely look for selling opportunities from here as well to the downside. If price breaks above this zone above and continues to the upside, then we know we are moving bullish on GBPUSD. So these are the various targets we have for GU if price starts selling or we start seeing bearish signs from either of these zones. So this will be our targets. This is USDCHF, and USDCHF we have this huge deep cap pattern which is playing out, and we are currently heading to our TP1. So as we can see, we anticipated that price was going to react from this very first zone, or this very first area of interest. Price pulled back and give us some reactions, and we would likely want to see more another retest or a potential reversal pattern somewhere hitting this zone, and then we look for buying opportunities to the upside. Should price also pull back all the way to the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking the buys from here to the upside to the various targets we have above here. So we are very bullish on USDCHF for the coming week. So this is USDCAD. USDCAD is also developing a potential harmonic pattern, which is either a cipher or a shark pattern. And currently, we have this inverse head and shoulder that formed right here, and we are looking forward to a possible retest of this first area of interest or this second area of interest. And currently, price has pulled back and is somewhere near the first area of interest. So we are going to expect to see, if we are fortunate to see a possible pullback into this area of interest and we get buying opportunities from here, we'll take our buys to the upside and target the various targets we have right here to the upside. So we are also bullish on USDCAD, and CPI might give us the drive. So if price is able to pull back within this zone before CPI and we get any reversals before CPI, we are likely going to see price rocket from here and from this zone to the upside. This is AUDUSD. So AUDUSD, since last week or 2 weeks ago, we were expecting that price would pull back and hit this area of interest and give us selling opportunities. We are still playing around the area of interest, so we're still going to be patient to see how price develops here. If we get any reversal patterns here, we'll take ourselves from there to the downside, and these are various targets. The second scenario is if price is able to break below this area of interest and comes for a pullback into the area of interest once again, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from there to the downside. This is USDJPY, and USDJPY is developing a potential butterfly pattern, and price is it hasn't got anywhere near the potential reversal zone, so we are still going to look out for possible buy moves to this very target we have above here. So going into next week, we are anticipating, we had a very first pullback we had a retest of this area of interest, and the momentum going was not too strong, so we are likely going to see a potential retest again, either in this very first zone or the second zone we have below, before we see price move or before we can see more bullishness on USDJPY. So we are expecting some bearish moves to hit this area of interest or any of these two areas of interest before we look for buying opportunities to the upside. So we are on the long term, we are bullish on USDJPY. This is EURJPY, and JPY in itself is gaining some strength. And last week we anticipated that we're expecting price to pull back into this area of interest to give us a possible lower high formation, and we got this nice daily structure shift here. So going into next week, all we are waiting for or expecting is to see price retest this daily structure or this zone once again, give us selling opportunities or confirmations, then we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are bearish on EURJPY. Should price give us this move, we'll gladly take ourselves from here to the downside and target these various targets we have below. So we are very bearish on EURJPY. Should price break above these structures over here and comes for retest, then we know we are headed to the bullish side. But for now, we are on the bearish side of things for EURJPY. This is AUDJPY. So for AUDJPY, we also anticipated a pullback into this area of interest to get by selling opportunities to the downside. Price has pulled back and it is playing around a bit. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is if we get a double top formation, which seems to be forming already. If we get a double top formation here, or we get a daily structure shift, if we get price to shift structure here, if we get a daily candle close below this daily structure we have here, we wait for a possible pullback or a lower high formation and we look for selling opportunities to the downside. And this is a possible double top that is forming. Yes, this is a possible double top that is forming. So if it develops, we might likely take our first entry after this this double top complete and we look for a retest of the neckline of the double top and take our possible first entry before we see price shift this structure and come for another retest, and then we look for another selling opportunity. So we just have to be patient to see how price plays out within that zone. And these are the various targets we have for AUDJPY on the bearish side. This is CADJPY. So CADJPY has also retested. This is more like a head and shoulder formation, but it's not very clear. But it is. This is the left shoulder. This is the head. This is the right shoulder. It's very small. And then we broke the neckline, and price has now retested or come back for the neckline to retest the neckline. So we are currently retesting the neckline, and we've seen a nice bearish momentum here. So going into next week, we'll be looking out for either a structural shift on, I think, on a smaller time frame. I think this is 4 hour or 6 hour. Yes, so we're expecting a structural shift here. If we get a structural shift here, and we look for a possible lower high formation, we look for selling opportunities to the downside to target the various targets we have below. Should price also form a double top formation, something like a double top within this area of interest to give us a double top, comes to a retest, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from here. Or even if it forms a head and shoulder formation within this zone, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from there. So we just have to be patient to see how price plays out, then we can take our decision to the downside for CADJPY. This is CHFJPY. So for CHFJPY, last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest to give us selling opportunities, and we have a very nice structural shift on a daily time frame, which is also giving us a head and shoulder formation. This is the left shoulder, this is the head, this is the right shoulder. So all we are going to look out for is a possible retest of the neckline of this head and shoulder formation, and we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we're expecting price to pull back to retest the neckline of this head and shoulder formation, and then we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are bearish on CHFJPY for the coming week. We just have to be patient to see how price plays out, and then we can take a decision to the downside. So this can only be invalidated if we get price to break above the zone and clear these structures above here and continues to the upside. Until then, we are bearish on CHFJPY. So this is GBPNZD, and I will see that later on AUDNZD. Going into next week, NZD is gaining some strength, and we might likely see that on the various pairs that has NZD, and this pattern has played out a Gatling pattern and is heading downwards. So we are most likely going to see price head all the way down to either of these two zones, preferably the second zone. So going into next week, we'll rather look out for a possible pullback to retest this daily structure we have here, and we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside to this zone. Then we will be patient to see how price develops within this zone. If it's going to give us a bullish confirmation to the upside, we will look for buying opportunities to the upside. If it violates this zone and continues to the downside, we will look for downside potential. And let's see what we have for EURNZD. For EURNZD, it's very clear. EURNZD is giving us an ABC correction, an Elliott wave ABC correction. So this is the wave A, and this entire move, this ABC is wave B, and we are looking forward to the wave C, which is going to be an impulsive move. So going into next week, all we are looking forward to is a possible pullback into any of these two areas of interest. We look for selling opportunities to the downside. So should price pull back into this first area of interest, we'll look for selling opportunities. If it retests the second area of interest, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from there to the downside. So we are very bearish on EURNZD, and also considering that NZD is going to be strong, it's most likely going to be strong in the coming week. We are likely going to see this move turn to the downside. So we are very bearish on EURNZD for the coming week. This is NZDCAD, and NZDCAD has given us has shifted bullish, I think, on a weekly and a daily perspective. So going into next week, all we are looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest. Look for buying opportunities to the upside. This is also a potential harmonic pattern that is developing. This is the potential harmonic pattern, which this is the X, this is the A, this is the D, which is a deep cap, a possible deep cap pattern. This is the C leg. We are expecting price to continue to the upside to give us the C to D leg to this very TP we have here. So we just have to be patient to see the retest or a possible higher low formation and look for our buying opportunities to the upside for NZDCAD. So we are very bullish for NZDCAD for the coming week. This is EURAUD. So for EURAUD, last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this very area of interest to give us buying opportunities to the upside. Price has finally hit the area of interest, so we are going to be patient to see how it develops here and look for buying opportunities to the upside. If price is able to break up, if we get a daily candle closing below this daily structure here, then we are possibly going to shift bearish. If daily candle closes below this structure here and gives us a possible pullback, then we are most likely going to head bearish for EURAUD. This is AUDNZD. So we actually missed out on this move last week. So as we anticipated that if price is able to pull back to hit this area of interest here or this structure point here before the NZD news is released, we are most likely going to see NZD gain strength after the news release. And truly, after price hits the area of interest, it gave us this nice rejection candle, and then in the news that came in for the NZD just drove price to the downside. So we missed out on this big move. But all is not lost. It has also given us more new opportunities to keep to head to the downside. So going into next week, all we are waiting for is to see price pull back into this area of interest we have here. We look for selling opportunities within this zone, then we take ourselves to the downside. And these are the various targets we have for AUDNZD. Because of this move, we are likely going to see NZD strengthening across most of the pairs. So let's be on the lookout for that. So we are just expecting a lower high formation and look for selling opportunities to the downside for AUDNZD. This is gold. We are currently in this sell position, and last week we anticipated that price was going to retest this area of interest and give us some selling opportunities to the downside. We didn't get any clear selling opportunity after the quick or swift retest of the area of interest. And the second view we had was to see price pull back to retest this daily structure here and give us a bullish opportunity to either this zone properly or into the second zone above. Then we can see some bearishness from there. So we just have to be patient to see how price develops. Then we take our decision either to go on the bullish side to see price retest this area of interest properly, or either the second zone, this area of interest we have above. So we just have to be patient to see how price develops. But if price hits any of these two areas of interest and give us selling confirmations within any of these two areas of interest, we'll take ourselves to the downside because we're already holding the sell position on gold. This is silver, and it's also a similar move as we have on gold. And we've already hit our first TP, and then we anticipated last week that price was going to retest this daily structure here and give us a selling opportunity. We had this swift retest, a rejection candle, and a bearish momentum candle. And so we just have to be patient to see how price develops. If we get price to give us a lower high formation here and continue to the downside, then it means we are still holding on to this sell position, and we'll look for selling opportunities to hit our second target below. So we are bearish on silver for the coming week, and these are the other targets we have below for silver. But if price is able to find its way all the way back to this area of interest again, we'll still be interested in looking for selling opportunities from here to the downside. This is Brent crude oil, and Brent crude oil is forming a potential harmonic pattern, and as I've been explaining weeks ago, this is the X, the A, B, and we are currently about to see the formation of our C leg to the D. And from what we saw, this momentum we saw from here was actually as a result of the escalation in the Middle East between the US and Iran and Israel. And price has now pulled back into a very significant area of interest. So we have two options. If price may likely give us a very strong momentum from here again to the upside, where price might possibly reach $189 per barrel for Brent crude oil. But then if we get price to break, we get a weekly or daily candle to break these structures to the downside, then we know we are heading bearish. But for now, we are still very bullish, but price is going to play around for some time, give us some consolidations or maybe a reversal pattern formation, then we can see some bullish moves to the upside. So we just have to be patient with Brent crude oil for now and see how it plays out. This is natural gas. So for natural gas, last week we anticipated that price was going to break this daily structure here and give us a pullback for us to get an entry. If price rather pulled back and gave us a strong momentum, so we couldn't catch this move all the way down. So going into next week, all we are waiting for is to see a possible pullback to hit this area of interest. Then we'll take ourselves from there to the downside. So these are the various targets we have for natural gas. This is our TP1, this is our TP2 for natural gas. We just have to wait for the retest of this area of interest. But if price is able to pull back all the way back into this first area of interest as well, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from there. We're looking for selling opportunities from here to the downside. So we are very bearish on natural gas. This is S&P 500, and S&P 500 is giving us a nice harmonic pattern formation. And this is the harmonic pattern that is developing on S&P 500. This is our X, this is our A leg, this is our B leg, this is the C leg, and we are anticipating the C to D leg. So going into next week, we are anticipating that price is going to pull back into this area of interest we have here. Should price pull back here, give us bullish opportunities or bullish confirmations, we'll take our buys to the upside. Should it pull back to the second zone below, we would we'll still look for buying opportunities from here to the upside. But preferably, we're expecting price to retest this very first area of interest, then we'll take our buys from here to the upside. So we are very bullish on S&P 500 for the coming week. This is NASDAQ, and NASDAQ is also giving us a similar formation, just as we saw on S&P 500. It's also giving us a possible deep cap pattern, which this is the X, this is the A, this is the B leg, this is the C leg, and we're expecting the C to D leg all the way to this point. These are the various targets we have for NASDAQ. So we're expecting a possible pullback into the area of interest. Look for buying opportunities to the upside. Should price pull back a bit lower into the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking our buys from there. This can only be invalidated if price finds its way to break below the structure and then moves all the way to the downside. Until then, we are extremely bullish on NASDAQ for the coming week. This is German 30. German 30 is also extremely bullish now, and price is currently retesting an area of interest. So we just have to be patient to see how price plays out here. We are expecting a reversal pattern of buying confirmations within this zone. Then we look for our buying opportunities from here to the upside. So these are the various targets we have for German 30 to the upside if price gives us that bullish momentum from here. This is Australia 200, and for Australia 200, we will be expecting, it's also very bullish now, and we are expecting a daily structure shift. If price gives us a daily structure shift, gives us a retest of the daily structure and gives us buying opportunities, we'll take our buys to the upside. Should price also pull back after the daily structure, should price pull back a bit deeper and give us confirmations around here, we'll still be interested in taking our buys from here to the upside. And these are the various targets we have for Australia 200. This is the potential harmonic pattern that is developing. This is the X, this is the A, this pattern is actually a butterfly pattern, a potential butterfly pattern, and this is the C leg, and we're expecting price to continue to the upside, so to give us a C to D leg. So if we get a daily structure shift, as I explained earlier, we'll be interested in taking our buys to the upside for Australia 200. This is BTC, and for BTC, BTC is very bearish. So as we explained weeks ago, we are expecting price to pull back into this area of interest, this very area of interest we have here. We're expecting price to pull back and give us selling opportunities to the downside to either 46k, between 58k to 46k region, or worst case scenario 35k. So we are very bearish on BTC, but we just have to be patient to see how price plays out when it retests this area of interest. So you just have to be patient. But then if you a day trader and you want to find buying opportunities into the area of interest, you can do that as well. So if you are a day trader and you want to look for buying opportunities into this very zone, you can still do that. But then we are going to be patient to wait to see price retest the area of interest, give us selling confirmations here, then we take ourselves to the downside because it's very bearish now. I think the last one for the week is also Ethereum. Ethereum too has a similar formation as BTC. We are expecting price to retest this area of interest properly and give us selling opportunities from here to the downside. So we are very bearish on Ethereum as well. So just be patient and wait for price to reach the area of interest and give us nice confirmations, and we can take ourselves to the downside. Let's look at a recap from the previous week. It wasn't a good week at all. So we hit SLO with almost all our pairs, all the positions we were holding from last week. So this was a complete loss. I mean, we were entirely wrong about this position. So this was a loss on NZDCAD from the previous week. This is AUDCHF. So we're holding this position from 2 weeks ago, and it also hit our SL. I mean, it was a complete loss, and so we lost on this position as well. And GBPJPY was also a complete loss, so we lost on this position as well. So we missed out on a very massive trade. It was a trade we had been waiting for months. I think somewhere February on EURJPY. Yeah, we have been waiting for this position, this move all the way from February, and price kept playing around. Just when we had the opportunity to enter, we didn't get the right confirmation to enter around here, and now look at this move, beautiful move that we missed out on. So we missed out on this nice move to the downside, and price may likely head all the way to the TP3 as well. But then before it gets here, if we're able to get selling opportunities along the way, we'll look for those selling opportunities and then take ourselves to the target we have here. This is a very nice head and shoulder formation that is playing out currently. And I would like to thank all of you for sticking through the end of this video. I wish all of us a profitable week ahead of us and a fruitful one as well. I will encourage all of us to apply proper risk management to our trades. Let's trade safe and sound, and I'll catch all of you on another episode. Take good care of yourself and have a wonderful time. Bye bye.